Hello, my merciful brothers and sisters. It is I, MisterMercy, bringing you another video with some Overwatch gameplay. So today, I want to talk about competitive and bad internet connections. So recently on the Blizzard forums, an Overwatch competitive player brought up a bug issue that basically made it so he couldn't rejoin competitive matches after he had been disconnected, and it would still penalize him for not rejoining. And he said that his disconnects were frequent because he lived on the outskirts of town and didn't have a very strong internet connection. So, game director Jeff Kaplan did end up responding to this post and said that that a fix for this bug, so the bug where players couldn't rejoin matches, even within the time limit that Blizzard supposedly had in place. That they were not allowed to rejoin and would still get penalized for not joining. They said that a fix for that bug was coming out later that day, which was yesterday. So this bug is apparently currently already fixed in the new patch that just went up. But he also had some choice words for the player as well. He said, quote, "Until then, if you're having spotty connectivity, I would recommend not playing competitive play. Actually, if you have spotty connectivity, I would dissuade you from playing competitive play even after the fixes are live. Even brief interruptions with disconnects and reconnects are putting your team at a severe disadvantage." End quote. Now, on the forums, I see people tearing this guy apart and agreeing with Jeff Kaplan that the poster shouldn't be playing competitive at all. And to be fair, I get their argument. You do disadvantage your team when you disconnect, and it makes it hard for them to win when they're a man down. However, I don't really agree with this whole needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few argument. So let's break this down. The fact of the matter is, you paid $40 or $60 for the right to play Overwatch as a whole, including competitive mode. So you should have the right to play the game how you want and enjoy in the rewards that competitive play has to offer. Does it hurt your team? Yes. But we shouldn't be throwing people who want to play and contribute in competitive, who, want to be a part of the competitive community and want to help their team and want to, play to their best of their ability. We shouldn't be throwing them under the bus with the rest of the trolls who just want to cause havoc and ruin games for everybody. And we certainly shouldn't be telling them not to enjoy the game they paid for simply because the servers can't distinguish between a player with a spotty internet connection and a troll. So I also see a lot of people telling this guy that he just needs to get better internet or a better router. But let me just pick this apart. Pick apart why this so-called solution is total bullshit. First off, the router probably isn't the problem. I don't think his hardware is the problem. It's the location that he's in, and the ISP that has to send internet to his location. Because as he said in his original post, he lives on the outskirts of town. Secondly, the guy already probably has the fastest internet that he can reasonably afford. Thirdly, this guy may not even be an adult yet, and then, of course, has to deal with whatever internet his parents can afford, which he would have no financial control over regardless. And fourthly, to get better internet, which, whether he's living on his own or not, would require him to move closer to a populated area, which is an absolutely absurd demand for someone to make sure that other people don't lose imaginary points in a video game. So it's completely unfathomable to say to the person, well, because it's location that's the problem. He's on the outskirts of town, and in order for him to get better internet, he would need to move into a more populated area, and that would, think about it. You have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars and move your residence, which is probably situated right where you want it to be. You have to move it closer to the city, just so other people online don't lose competitive rank in Overwatch. That's absurd and ridiculous. And in addition to that, I also hear other people saying, just play quick play. Well, as we all know, quick play is an entirely different beast from competitive play, and this excuse is also bullshit, because as I've said before, he spent money on this game and shouldn't have to settle for only playing quick play if he is a paying customer. So to better help you guys better understand this, I'm going to give you guys an analogy here. So imagine you go to like a fancy restaurant, and you know, this is like a really high-end restaurant. They got like the food's really expensive, and you know, it's a really like upper class place, but somehow you manage to scrape together enough money to actually go to this restaurant, but the people at the restaurant say that just because you're from a poorer neighborhood on the outskirts of the city, well, you can only order from the kids menu, even though you had the money for the full dining experience. And the restaurant would say to you, like, you make the other customers upset with your poorness, and they don't want you to share in the same experience with them since you're poor. But hey, you can always have them chicken nuggets. So wouldn't you be a little bit ticked off about that? You have very little to no control over your socioeconomic status, so why should you be denied the same experience as everybody else? That's complete and utter bullshit. And it seems that people, including Jeff Kaplan, want to treat Overwatch competitive like it's some real legitimate esports level stakes, when it's really not. It's really not. Is it more serious than quick play? Absolutely, but it isn't esports. Quick play is for goofing off and being weird, just basically doing whatever you want. You can play to win in quick play, certainly, but you mostly just play to have fun. Hell, you can completely ignore the objective and go for medals if you want. You want the most elims, you want the most damage, but you don't really, you know, care about winning. Screw it, go do it in quick play. It's your playground to do whatever you want, and you know, you should just go and have fun with that. Competitive, though, yes, you do play to win, but not at the expense of sacrificing fun. You know, in season 1, I admit that you know, I would probably, if this happened in season 1, I'd probably side with everybody else here, and you know, and be upset with this guy for complaining that you know, his internet caused him to disconnect, and I'd probably say that, hey, you know, you're ruining the team game. But because I treated competitive back then, I treated it like it was something that had to be taken super seriously, and that fun wasn't allowed. Only winning was allowed. However, with the new ranking system, I don't feel that pressure anymore. And hell, sometimes I'll even solo queue in competitive, and I know everybody hates solo queuing in competitive. Sometimes I'll solo queue in competitive just to have fun, knowing full well that I'll probably lose more games than I normally would in a pre-made group. So the problem is that people take competitive so seriously that winning is the only thing that matters to anybody, and anything that impedes that is shunned. But I say leave that seriousness to the pros, because Overwatch is supposed to be fun, and I want people everywhere to enjoy it, regardless of your internet or your financial status. And to the people that say that disconnecting players, you know, hurt the team environment, I say either carry and win, or take the loss gracefully and just work your way back up again. Don't blame the other person for having a poor internet connection when they probably can't really do anything about that. And just realize that, hey, it's unfortunate, yes, but it happens, shit happens, deal with it. And because if you're so laser focused on winning that you can't be bothered in the slightest to let your skill rating drop even a little bit because of one poor innocent soul's internet connection, and you have to throw a fit on the forums about it, then in my opinion, you should be the ones not playing competitive, because you are playing Overwatch for the wrong reasons. So, on a side note, Blizzard did also address that they understand and sympathize with the players who have been disconnected due to their own internal issues, like the constant DDoS attacks over the past few months, and will be working towards a solution that doesn't penalize players who get disconnected during like a DDoS attack or some other fault on Blizzard's part. But because they realize that the player was innocent in that disconnect and shouldn't be punished for it. Kind of like when a player's ISP shafts them, but for some reason they don't feel the same way about that. I don't know, but whatever. That's basically all I had to say about that. So remember, guys, if you liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I'm Mr. Mercy. Peace, everyone.